Welcome to working with fixed layout ePubs. Now the advantage of fixed layout ePubs are the fixed layouts. You can design exactly what you want, unlike free-flowing ePubs that will fit and format to whatever page size or text size you want. The fixed layouts stay as they're intended to from the initial design. Now what I've also got is I want to show you what a document, and we'll show you this in just a minute, but it's essentially ePub zip unzip document. Now what that means is ePubs are actually made from HTML and CSS. So what you can do is, if you want to download this tool, which is a great tool for opening up or unzipping it, where you can tweak CSS if you've got those skills to do that and add extra things in, especially to get onto the sites like Amazon or something where you'd like to really format something a little bit better, you're going to be needing to do that. Otherwise, you can just do an ePub and you can do some great design with it. Now, just to show you the site, as I just mentioned, I'm just going to click down here. This site, just going to this page, will simply download your tool in order to do this exact task. So here's the address up here, just download.freedownloadmanager.org. It's a little bit more intense, the address, if I just click here, but you can actually access it there to go to the Mac or Windows format. So let's get on with actually building this, and we're going to just extract it to have a quick look at it when we're finished as well. Now what I've also got is a movie file. You can place movies into this. I've got an MP4 here, but you can essentially even do movie files with the latest formats with Adobe. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this up, Fixed Layout Digital 2 InDesign. So I've also got a linked file. I've got an image in here, which just enables the files that are actually linked, and I tend to just link files rather than embed them. But anyway, I'll just open this up now. It should be opening up, and here it comes. By the way, this is Adobe InDesign 2015. So there is a few benefits to this, like you can do animation, and that's really quite a key thing with this particular file. So with my file just here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it into the scene. Now I've already added some animation to this, and you can tell it's an animation because it has these little animation symbols. Okay, you do need 2015 to be able to have access to doing this, so I recommend certainly updating to that version because there's more effects in there. This is a double page spread. In actual fact, if I just scroll through the pages here, you can see there's a range of pages, and here's a movie file. This movie file actually works. It's just placed like the movie file I showed before, and this is simply the linked image that I had in the folder there, just to get a bit of effect rather than it was all text. Other than that, it's just a straight design. Now this particular animation jumps into the scene, and I'll show you that in a minute, but essentially you can choose any animations you want. So let's get this together. Now by the way, this is a double page spread. It's a DPS, double page spread, but it's a spread, meaning it's the 2 pages, like a center spread. So in this format, it works brilliantly doing this as well. And this can be great to go into the right format that will be suitable for a tablet that's wide enough to view it, especially like the new Pro tablet, iPad Pro, or even other wider tablets and new ones that are on the market. It also is great just to read on screen. I must admit I do like this double page format. But I'm going to show you both and how you only need to do one to work with both formats. So let's start off with a double page spread, even though it's probably the best, and we're going to do some animation. I've got some animation down on this file here as well. You can see the animation tool. Let's go and add some animation to this graphic, or maybe even this one, just so it's not all the image. So I'm just going to click on that, and what I'm going to do is simply go to Digital Publishing so I can actually access the animation toolbars. So I'm going to just click on that, and up comes with the animation. Now if you don't have that, you just simply come down here, or if you just want to do it through the menu, and you go to Windows Interactive Animation. Now just beneath that, you're going to see a very important tool. It's the ePub interactivity preview. So you do need to have 2015 to be able to view all this. Of course, you've got hyperlinks and liquid layout, which is another movie that showcases how to use that. But then it goes into other effects, page transitions, which more in the Swift format, which really is not that great if you want to output it to iPad. So use what's going to be relevant to the market you want. Generally, I would stay away from the Swift features because most of the stuff is with the tablets doesn't really use it. Anyway, let's go and try some animation. I've selected it, so here it is. I can just choose a preset. There's also properties down here, and you can actually even preview this here by going to the ePub preview. But there's things like timing, and I'm not going to go through all of the things here, but you can see that there's a lot to try out, from rotation to whatever. So maybe if I'll just minimize it now just to show how this is looking, I'm going to choose. Here's a preset, choose. Quite a few to choose from here. So gallop. Well, you have to be careful that you don't go too much to town, because that can certainly get a little bit overboard with the animation. So use animation sparingly, and also use the right effects. Sometimes the more subtle effects like fade in are the best, but I'm just going to use this just to have some fun with it. Now there's even things like smoke, and being Swift type formats. Now this is fine for Swift files or Flash Player type outputs, but don't use it for the iPad. So tend to stay with iPad, tablet suitable type outputs, because that's really where it's going to be read most of the time. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this gallop and see what that looks like. There's even some quite nice bounce ones there. Anyway, I'll try the gallop. So here you can see just the preset, and basically that has been set. There's the animation in there. Now what you can do is this little bar, you can move it in. So if I just click on that, and back to the bar, it's a little bit small on screen here. So maybe if I just click off that first, just to activate it. And you can slide and play around with your animation. I might make it just a little bit bigger there to see what's going to happen. And essentially, let's go and see how that works. If I go up to my window here, remember interactive, and I'm just going to go to the ePub interactivity preview. So that should just come out in a moment, and there it is, just at the top there. But what did I do wrong with this? It's fine if you can move the bar, but not the whole file outside of the area. So I've moved the file outside the area. So I really wanted to show that it's very easy to stuff up, even though it's very easy to get things right as well. So I'm just going to close that and just come back down here. So I'll bring that back down into the view that I had before. So what you want is not to move that, but you need to actually get the animation itself, which is that little bar just there. So I might actually have to just blow that up a little bit bigger to see. So just Command plus, and oops, I just got it there, and it's still not doing it. So I might just have to click in here, and there you go. That's the file there. And now I can bring it a little bit down so it's a little bit more animated, and I'm just going to click and bring that back to fit in the page there. Okay, so I've moved the whole thing around there, but not to worry. Let's just see how that looks now on the output, which is just window, remember, interactivity, and always just check it through the ePub interactivity preview. Okay, so there it's bouncing, and it's got a greater bounce because we're able to move that. Now you can, on some of the files, on some of the lines, add in curves and things into that, and it's really up to you just to play around and get the best effect from whatever that you want to actually put together within this animation. So, really try the tools out. So we've got this animation in place. As I mentioned, you can also add movies in here. I'm just going to minimize that now. I've got a movie in this space just at the time being. You can actually use, with the Mac anyway, movie files, just save to the right size, or what was the recommended was just doing MP4. So you can actually save to the iTunes, it's an EM4V, and just change the suffix back to MP4. But I'm just going to delete that just for the time being, and I'm going to go and just place, yes, just like putting an image in, Command D, just place the image, which happens to be a movie file. So I'm just going to come back to my desktop here, and what I'm looking for is the file, which I probably should have just accessed before, but just fix layout ePubs, and here's my movie file, MP4. I'm just going to open that and just click it into place there. Now you might notice it's a little bit big, and so all we need to do is I'm just holding my Command Shift key to constrain it and just bring it in so back to the size that I want, and just bring it in there, and really that's about it. Now there is one other thing that's in this file. I've put a range of other animation, but what's really important here with the file that's been put together is generally use your styles. So to do styles, I'm going to come back and just go to typography. I've got paragraph styles here, and you see I've got a head, which is a head graphic, my subhead, sort of content and chapters. I put everything together in styles. It's a good way to work, and the reason is that maybe not necessarily it does a great job without it, but if I just come up to my layout here and I come down to the table of contents, that's where you create the TOC, the table of contents, which I've already created there. You just go new and create a new one. If I just go and edit this, you'll see what I've done here. You'll get all the lists coming through here. Apart from making it easy to change longer documents, which is a great way of working, you can simply choose whatever graphic that you wish to have, which is going to be accepted as for your table of contents here. Like let's say I'll just go to my headings, and what I'll do is I'll just add that in so it becomes part of the table of contents. I can do subheads, and I can move on and on and on. I'll just go OK and OK again. So what I'm going to do now is to output to a fixed layout ePub. I'm also going to just add it to the full screen now so we can fit things a little bit better. And I'm going to go from my file here just to export. Now, earlier videos I've got, they sort of look at actually reflyable, but we're doing fixed layout. Now this is a double page spread, so this is actually a little bit more complicated than the first one, but I just want to show you what I've got set up, and then we can change it back to just single page. So fixed layout ePub, I'm just going to go save, and it's just coming up here. What I've got is rasterized first page, which it likes to do, and here's my style. It'll probably say none here. I've gone to multi-level TOC style, and what I've got is just added that style in there. I could have a range of them, but I've just chosen the one I've got there, which uses the head. But there must be styles for this to be actionable. Now what I've also got is, because I've got a double page spread, I've got a landscape page, double page spread, I'm converting spreads to landscape page because I want to keep the cover and the first page together, just as my layout is here. Okay, and there was one other thing that's important with this, but I will come back and show you this when I actually turn it back into single page shortly. Now, what's happening is here, this is where you can add style sheets in, and I'll show you where you action this in a little bit. But if you want to go more complicated, conversion set up here, by default it's going to 150 pixels per inch as well. Good, progressive, format method to showcase imagery, and it's high, so that's the standard to get a great job. So make sure your images are really at least 150 dpi if you're going with this default format. If you put any bigger images in there, it doesn't matter, they're going to still be rasterized down to 150. So that's really the main thing. There is other things like meta tags that you might want to put in here, JavaScript if you're into that, but essentially keeping it nice and easy. I'm good to go. The main thing I've done here is convert spreads and got my table of contents. Let's go OK, see what we get. So that wasn't too long, and it's going through, and I've got a few that are loading up there. And here it opens with this lovely double page spread. I've got an animation that comes in here. Well, I've got a few of them. I've got my table of contents, which I went to my headings there to keep it nice and clean. and that's because of the TOC, and I've set up with the style that I want to include was head. You can have subheads and on, etc., and they will also appear here, but I just want to just keep my headings nice and easy to understand. You've also got your menu that you can just scroll through the pages, or just down the bottom here you can click like so, go back here, or you can even just slide it along the bottom. So you should have a scroller that just slides and you can fit things as well. I think I'm just about getting all my pages in here, or just go on the buttons here. Okay, so many ways if I want to get rid of that effect like so. I'll just take it away. I'm just going to go to the next page. We added some animation just here. Okay, and of course we put our movie in there. Simple as that. So I'm just going to now close this and close this. What I'm going to do is I want to go back to putting this together as a single page layout. Then I'm going to unzip the whole file to show how it's made up. Well, so how do we do that? Well, I'm just going to select that to get all of my pages in there, and just move that along, and I'm just going to go back to my front page here. When I go to my file, by the way, document setup, so I'm going to come to the document setup here. What you really want to do is you're going to have this thing called an intent. Now I've already set this document up here. By default I think this is print, and the intent is print. You want to change it to digital publishing, which will then just give you the iPad, the Kindle Fire, etc. Okay, so make sure when you set up your new document, you choose to the format that you want for your output to tablet. Now, with the liquid layout, which is another video in this set, you can really quickly make up any page to fit the formats, and that's great, really making it work for your intended user. So I'll just cancel that for now. Let's go through and change it to a single page. So I'm going to come up back to my document setup here again, and you can see what we've got in order to get the double page. I've got 12 pages here. You really want to keep for digital publishing at least divisible by 2. I mean 8, 10, 12, 14, etc. But I've got start page 2, so this doesn't start as a single page how the document is normally set up, front page and then the final cover at the back. I've got my start pages 2, and I've of course clicked facing pages. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to click back to not facing pages, and by default I'm just going to go back here to 1, just to keep the cover separate. Okay, and I'm just going to go OK now. And here we are. If we go to the top, we're just back to single pages. So let's just go through and do this once more and publish it. We've got all the animation and the video in place. I'm just going to go File, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to go Export. And we've already got set up really for the fixed layout. I'm just going to call this A, just so this A being the single page anyway. Fixed layout, that's great. Save. This is where we're slightly going to be different, and down here, table of contents, but I don't want to convert spreads to the landscape page. This is where I just want to go to a single page, and I'm just going to go based on document setup. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that. Everything else, including table contents, is fine, and I'm going to go OK. So off it goes and starts making up its fixed layout EPUB, and here you go, a single page. Great, we've got our menu and our little slider down here as well. So I can slide towards the pages, so I can click on any of these to go through. Also got the same menu as we had before, or if I just unclick that and just scroll through the pages, and of course we're still going to have our animation that comes in, whether it's a little bit overused or not, we've got it there. So that's putting together fixed layout. So really, how is that assembled? What is it actually made of? So I'm just going to close this, and I'm just going to minimize this and come back to our page here. So here's our ePubs, which we've created. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click on this file that I downloaded from the link before, and I'm going to unzip. Okay, you can unzip it and make changes and zip it up again. Let's just have a look at that. So unzip EPUB, So I have to just locate that file I've just had before. So down here, fix layout ePubs, and I'm just going to use the single page as an example here, doesn't matter which one, just to show you what's happening. And I'm going to click on that and I'm going to go choose. What it's done here, it's made a folder. So what is the folder encompassing? Well, if I go into the main folder here, just the OEBPS file, it's a website. It's a website containing all of the graphics, all of the fonts, because we output to ePub 3, so all these fonts, and we've got some TrueType and OpenType formats here, and they've all come through. We've got scripts for our animation, and we've got our images, which are all involved in putting this together, and of course our HTML pages and our CSS, which you can go and tweak because it does write quite a bit. I'm not going to open this up, but it's something you can go through and check if you're interested in this area. And also your HTML pages, which actually may write a little bit too much code at times. So that's really where there's an advantage if you've got some skills to really tweak things. But nonetheless, if you want to do a great digital book and put it together, here's your fixed layout ePub. And I think it's only going to get better. So thanks for watching.